Just a normal kid from the centre of Ireland. Moved out of the house at 17 to work in Greece in an Irish bar for 40 hours a day on the beach.
Nice.
I shared a one. It was literally a one-room apartment with 8 people. Then I was like, okay, something needs to change. I'm 21 now and living in Marbella.
The CEO and founder of A Players Club, Mr. James Galligan. Well, how many members are you at now?
160 something. It's a whole ecosystem built around the longevity of entrepreneurs. They can go and they can meet guys and exactly like them, execute like them, dream like them, and also support them and stuff external to their business, so they don't have to figure it out or get hit in the future.
How do you attract enough people?
And so for me, it's like your first 20 clients, you should be undercharging and over delivering stuff. So I sat down with my team and I said 80% of your time, maybe even 70% of your time should be spent doing playbook stuff. The way we create brand is by experimenting with.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Founder Stories. I am in Marbella for this one with the CEO and founder of A Players Club, Mr. James Galligan. Welcome to the show.
A Players, yeah, Marbella is the place, bro. How do you like it?
I love it. I've been here 2 days so far and I'm definitely coming back. That's all I'll say. It's just the vibe, the culture. We'll get into that. But one of my questions, actually, I made a couple of notes this morning, but one of them is about surroundings, and Marbella is definitely a productive place. It's a lovely place to be. So yeah, definitely coming back. Yeah. For you being on the podcast, I'm super excited because you've achieved success at such a young age. Like, this podcast for me is about, as always, bringing inspiration, but having relatable stories so the viewers, listeners can take back practical strategies into their business to try and understand how they can achieve success or make it more likely to achieve success on their terms. So why don't we get started? For those of the guys that are listening or watching that don't know who you are, who is James Galligan and what is A Players Club?
Just a normal kid from the centre of Ireland, the equivalent to like Hull in the UK, where it's like it's somewhere you just don't want to be from, essentially. Grew up with amazing parents. They supported me emotionally and spiritually towards where I wanted to be, and always told me everything was possible, and that's what we made happen. And 21 now and living in Marbella. There's 35 members over here. We're pushing the business for forming partnerships, people like yourself and Dubai Creative Zone, etc. And I'm just, I guess if I was to summarize the journey in one, I've been working hard since a young age. Moved out of the house at 17 to work in Greece in an Irish bar for 40 hours a day on the beach.
Nice.
I shared a one. It was literally a one-room apartment with 8 people for 3 months. It was actually me and eight girls sleeping in one bedroom.
Okay, say no more.
Yeah, not lovely girls, but it was a very good time, and I worked hard then and came home and worked hard on just labor in bars and restaurants, and then I was like, okay, something needs to change, and we made it happen, I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to reverse back to all of that.
Yeah.
We've not had this conversation. We spoke before off air.
Yeah.
I haven't done any prep, and I'll only invite guests on this show that I have a genuine burning desire to understand how they've achieved success at that level. Yeah. So let's get back to that, but starting where we are now, if you're explaining to someone and you're in the lift for, I don't know, 60 seconds to 2 minutes, what's A Players Club? Who's your ideal client? How does A Players Club help them? Just give me a basic understanding of it, as if I don't know what it is, right? A
Players Club is a network and support place for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, like 18 to 26. Ideally, we have obviously members that are older. Yep. Essentially, the whole concept is that your support and your environment will help you actually last in the game long enough. Yep. And we wanted to create a place and an ecosystem to where they can go and they can meet guys and exactly like them, execute like them, dream like them, and also support them and stuff external to their business, so they don't have to figure it out or get hit in the future with something that they don't want to get hit with, like a tax bill, or like, saving money on taxes, or having a concierge to smoothen their time when they're traveling to save time there. So it's a whole ecosystem built around the longevity of entrepreneurs, because the biggest thing that I see nowadays is guys who want to earn 100k a month in 6 months, and then what? Like, that'll disappear very, very fast because it's unsustainable. And it's like, they probably aren't even registered anywhere in the world as well for something like taxes. And so I want to protect them and their long journey and create an environment that makes their journey sustainable.
Okay,
and so that's the concept.
It's a community of partners that they can access, and also, I guess, a roadmap of you make sure you've ticked these boxes, you're doing things in the right way, you're set up, but also the community of other entrepreneurs. I remember Tony Robbins saying that, you know, you're at this business mastery event, when you're doing these little exercises and these breakouts, pick 5 people that are at your level or slightly above, or ideally more. Make a WhatsApp group, meet for accountability every week, and this will be the number one thing you do from this whole event, this £10,000 event, just coming away with a community if you don't have one. And that's 5 people. How many members are you at now?
160 something. And like, I completely agree, and I'm glad me and Tony agree. And like, the whole concept is, if you constantly have either an event to look forward to, or a meeting to look forward to, or a trip to look forward to, there's that. I think I like operating in sprints. So like on a 60-day sprint of, I need to get to X goal or operate with X thing in X time. And that's an external motivator to get to these events, to network, to chillax, to, I guess, reignite the spark in your brain of what's possible. Talk to these guys who are doing even bigger numbers or thinking even bigger, and give you a new perspective on your business. And the thing is, you're probably going to network with somebody anyway. You're probably going to partner with somebody anyway. You're probably going to hire an agency. You're probably going to hire a closer. You're probably going to create a product on e-com, etc. You're going to do all these things regardless. And you're either going to do them alone, guessing what's right, or you're going to do them with people who you can trust and know that won't fuck you over in the future. Because how many times do you hear nightmare stories about business partners who met like randomly, don't really have any backstory or context for people to back them up, whether they're a good person or not, or they make a nightmare hire, and that hire tanks the company. It like, these things happen. And if you don't have a correct network of people who you know are trusted and are good at what they do, and you see it on the daily, and you can travel with them, you can live with them, etc., and you can grow together as one over the next 10-15 years, you're going to do something like that regardless. But it's whether you're in the right group of people or not. And being not in the right group of people has its downfall. And so
100%. A good example is, even in my business, like as a partner to A players, we have access to the A players community, which is amazing. Inspirational for me, because I'm 42 and I'm seeing, you know, 21 to 30-year-olds. You know, when we went out for dinner in London recently, I did meet someone who was older, close to me, which was nice. But it's inspirational to me. I'm telling my kids that are 10 and 9, listen, as soon as you're 16, you're joining A players. There's no thing about it. That's it. That.
I love that.
Because proximity is power. Right? 100%. So I needed someone to build me a closed AI, because we do a lot of tax planning. Now, I don't want that tax planning to go out into the open domain, but I want to utilize AI to learn over time, so I can recreate these tax reports more quickly and have it come back to me with its own planning ideas. Where would I go for that? Google? No idea. Put the idea into the A players group. Someone comes back who's trusted A players supplier. I immediately trust them because they're part of the network. Exactly what you said. I would never deliver tax or accounting support to someone who's in A players and not do a good job, because it only takes one person that I do a shit job for to go and tell the whole community, and it's done. Right. So now I've got someone who can help me with this closed AI. Took me 5 minutes.
All the billionaires operate with speed. And it's like, if you don't have the right people around you, you can't operate with the correct speed, or you operate with speed in the wrong direction, and that's even worse. And so it's like, if you can operate with speed but with trust at the same time, that's like the perfect factor for success. Because you hear all the billionaires, you hear the Bezos, you hear the Musk, you hear the Rockefellers, everyone talks about speed and execution. And we just want to make that simpler. That was always the goal. And like, the secondary goal was, I grew up in Ireland, so I had no inspiration from anybody. A lot of Europeans grow up in small towns, because the difference with the European market and the American market is, in America, you have 350 million people who speak the same language. And like, they're in different states, but they have similarities in regards to culture. But in Europe, it's like, each country has its own different market. You have Ireland, you have the UK, you have Denmark, you have Netherlands, you have Sweden, you have Spain, you have France. They all go to their go-to people who speak their language for advice. Like, they don't really trust someone cross country as much. So your market is like, let's say 1/30th of what they have in the US. And so when we grew up in Europe, we don't have the advantage of, well, money, for example. Like, we can't just take like credit card loans, financing. None of that is in Europe. And so like, we're already at a disadvantage based on the area that we have, the market that we have, and the access to money that we have. So the only advantage that we have is if we come together as people and create an environment and a space and events that we can use the power of each other and our own leverage. Because I think that's where we're behind in Europe. And I always wanted to create that space for younger James, who was searching for people, the right people to grow with.
How did you come up with the idea though? Like, How do you? There are some similarities between things like Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership, but that's gone so big now. It's totally different beast.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the idea? Like most businesses are born about through solving a problem that you have yourself and then offering it to others. So is it that, or is it something else?
I'm going to rephrase that a little bit and you said it correctly, but I'm going to distinguish between idea and problem, because like, I don't think you should search for ideas, because then I think you're searching for something that isn't an issue.
Yeah.
Whereas if you see a problem and you feel a problem and you solve that problem, that's a successful business.
Yeah.
Because you're solving pain of either yourself or somebody else's. And it's a collaboration of both. When I was growing up, I was always the organizer of events, buses, house parties, getting the DJs to the house party. Like I always organized all of that. And if you needed something done, you went to James in Longford, the place where I'm from.
Yeah.
And so it was that natural ability to bring the right people together at the right time or get it done last minute, just execute it.
Yeah.
And also the problem that in Europe that I just said, to where we just don't have access to the right people or environments or funding. And so if we can create our own environment place where the funding is funded by ourselves, and outside investors see the power of this network, like, then we can start building towards this ecosystem. I believe in Europe there isn't really an outstanding one. Maybe there's an older corporate kind of style one, but there's no real like.
No, there isn't, because
there isn't.
We look for partners to partner with to generate referral income.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not how we met. That's another story. But I cannot find networks like A Players. It almost, I mean, I'm sure there are one or two, but not in the same. One thing, I was explaining this to someone in the cafe yesterday in Marbella. She was super excited about A Players, as in like, looking like, okay, send me the details, I'd like to join. Is it only for guys? Or are you going to expand? It's only for guys? Only for guys.
Okay, will only be for guys. I have said to some girls in the past that like they should start an alternative for ladies. Yeah. And it's like, because the idea isn't come here to start your business. The idea is you have an idea what you want to do. You just want support.
Yeah.
And you want the right people around you to
support, network, motivation, a framework through the year that you can work really, really hard in sprints, knowing you've got these booked rewards like ski trip or whatever it is.
Exactly. And it's like, it's a motivational, and it's like, well, what's probably the biggest thing in the world right now is branding. And so if you're around 15, 20 people who are commenting on your post who are also credible, or let's say I comment on your post, for example, someone goes to my page, sees Imran Gadzi, and they're like, now Simon's even more credible in my eyes, subconsciously, because, and so it's like when you have the support network that supports your social media also, extreme amount of credibility, because if it's trusted by this person, he's trusted by this person. Then it's also on the trips, when you get the branding, the content, the pictures, etc. It ups your status perceived on social media as well, which always brings extra cash flow no matter what industry that you're in as well. So there needs to be an equivalent for ladies. Like, I believe that. I just will never allow ladies into our community, because if you let's say an attractive lady comes into the community, there's 100% chance that this guy's going to talk to her, this guy's going to talk to her, they'll get jealous of this guy, they'll fall out, and it just will fuck everything. So it's nothing to do against women. You just know how men operate.
No. I mean, that's the reason why. So I went to private school. It was a boys' school.
Yeah.
It removed everything to do with she fancies him, he's going out with her, he's upset because he's not doing this. You just get on with your work.
Yeah.
Same philosophy, right? Yeah. Now they open it up to everyone, but that's profit driven.
Yeah.
It's not driven by the best educational results.
We'd make more money if we had chicks inside.
Because you can have a bigger community, a bigger school, right? Yeah. But the whole reason why they had boys and girls schools was to remove that element, so you can focus on what you're there for, which is to enjoy your business, enjoy growing your business, and enjoy the journey.
I think people love the idea of profitability. Like, we've had so many girls who asked to join. We had one that asked to pay like 7,000 to join, and that doesn't just bring revenue from the girls. On the short term, perception wise, that would like attract more guys to join, because they'd be like, oh, there's girls, like rich guys who can't talk to girls would be like, oh, let me pay to talk to these whatever. And so it would attract money on both sides. But for me, it's like, we're playing the decade game here, and if you want something to be sustainable for a long time, there has to be sacrifice of short term exponential returns on whatever it is. And so we have strict core values that we stick to, and if you're external to that, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen or work, because I don't believe in the long-term vision of just profit over, I guess, morals.
And does that tie in with your pricing strategy? You don't have to talk about that on here in terms of what it is. But this, when it first came out, was I would say, a 20th of what, for example, Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership is. And for me, you get way more with A players. So when I found out how much it was, I was shocked, to be honest, because I expected it to be at least 10x.
Yeah.
Have you done that deliberately so that you can get the right people in up front, and then over time, it's going to get more, the price point to get in is going to increase?
I want to scale with access and not scale with people, because with community, you can't scale with people, because if you scale people, you can't scale community, because community is people.
Yeah.
And so I want to scale a price point, but I know that me being 21, I wanted to make it
I still can't believe you're 21.
Accessible, but like not to the point where it's breaking the bank, because I don't believe there's much out there that's actually worth. I think a lot of things are inflated right now in regards to pricing, just because they can, and just because people would pay for it, which is fine. But for me, it's like, I would rather take the short-term hate of it being like a tenth of what it should be, and still be selective of who we let in, and then with that, completely over-deliver. Like, we are so heavily referral-based, and so many people talk so well about A players because they're like, the value for money that I got, it's just like, I can't even conceptualize it. Like,
there's no way people are not going to get 100% ROI.
There's
no
way. It's literally impossible. If you hire the one right person, or if you talk to the one right business partner, you get one piece of advice, or you speed up time by 2 months on certain projects, it's like the right people is an infinite ROI.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I'm so bad at it. I get excited. Like yesterday when we sat down in I/O, I don't know what you're supposed to call that place. IO.
Input output is input output.
Oh, I got it now. Yeah. Okay. You introduced me to someone, also an A players member, currently referring business to another accountant, tax consultant, not 100% happy with that partnership. There's potential for me to get that referral business. If that referral business comes out, it would add 30%. And my business is big for me anyway. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
It will add 30% on my top line revenue.
It's a good partnership.
How long was I sat there? 4 minutes. Yeah. So I get it, right?
But people don't understand network until they're in a network.
And trust.
They don't get it. And that's for me, not the hard point of owning a community. Like, I don't want to oversell it or anything, but I think it's more of a realization that, like, when you're in a marketplace that's so untapped, like communities in Europe, which is just an untapped thing because it's dependent on the marketplace, it's like, it's going to have to be a realization over years. It's going to have years of content, years of branding, years of indoctrination that this is what you need for it to be, I guess, long-term sustainable. And the way I plan to do that is just create huge events all over Europe. So, for example, next year in Ireland, we'll have an event with 500,000 people. Next year in Sweden, we have an event with other A players partners with 500,000 people. We're going to go for Denmark, because we have a huge audience in Denmark. In Marbella, I want to host a huge one. And so when people go to these events, they get a taster. Yeah. I've had people who come to dinners of ours, just like we'd invite externally sometimes, and they come in to be like, wow, like, what was I thinking? Not being around the right people. It was from like one conversation. Then they join. Yeah. And so it needs to be a realization. So I know I need to go big or go home in regards to these events, and they're going to be hard work. And it's stressful running events at a large scale, but I know it's needed, and that's the risk that needs to be taken at a young age, of just like doing everything you can with no responsibility. And I hope it works. I think it will. I don't see a downside.
I don't see this not working. My interest around finances is, are you taking all the profits and reinvesting that in the growth of A players, or are you achieving profitability and cash flow?
Oh, heavily cash flow. Heavily profitability.
Yeah, and people can work out what you're making, because you've got, what, 130 members?
160 members.
Yeah, 160 members, and they can inquire to find out what the current price point is, right? We won't say this on here, because this content will sit here forever, and then the price point will change, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But people can work out that there's not many 21-year-olds earning the kind of money that you're earning and providing value. So people are happy that you're earning that.
Yeah.
Because individually they're getting ROI.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, let's come back and then we'll get into the detail. Yeah. So you've gone to Greece.
Yeah.
You're living with 10 girls.
Yeah.
You're working in a bar.
Yes.
Just talk me through the timeline between then and A players. Why didn't you go to university?
Never wanted to. It was concrete in my head from the age of like 12, 13. I wasn't going.
And your parents supported that, right?
100%.
Are they entrepreneurs?
They are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so to explain to my parents, they won't mind me saying this. It's like, they've tried a lot of things. They've tried to make a lot of things work. They've always been driven to do more than just like wake up, show up, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
They've always been trying. It didn't work out the way it they deserved. Like they worked very, very hard, and the reward for what they worked for, you know, they would have been easier to work a 9 to 5 is what I would say. And it would have been probably more financially rewarding. We didn't grow up with, like, I actually remember last night having a conversation, and someone was like, you know, did you travel much when you were younger? And we traveled like a little bit, like we went to like the Lanzarote's and, you know, the places that you go if you didn't have too much cash back in the day. Went to Marbella once in the old town. But like, I remember even small things like, you know, the paddle boats that you have the slides on and you like cycle out in the sea.
Yeah.
Like that would be a thing where we'd be like, I don't know if we can do that this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but they worked so hard and they showed me what hard work was. And I actually believe I was born with the best possible balance of seeing the hard work, not getting, just given the reward and the self-belief of you can do whatever you want. It was like, it was so perfect.
Yeah.
And I believe I was given that environment to grow up in. I think everyone watching, I should believe that they were given the environment to grow up in because they need to show people that were in that environment the way to get out of that environment.
Yeah.
And so I believe I was given that environment to have, like, people were telling me to always read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, all this sort of stuff. I read them, but I was like, I already believe, I think this way already. And so it's like, I haven't needed to do a lot of the self-development work / breaking limiting beliefs because I was born with, okay, we don't say can't. We don't say impossible. We don't say, I don't know. We don't say maybe. It's like them words didn't exist. And so that was the biggest blessing growing up. And so, they were entrepreneurs and they inspired me. And the number one tip I can give for somebody that isn't in something like sales or isn't in the online space is get into hospitality. Yeah. Like I learned so much from hospitality. You learn how to multitask. You learn how to handle stress. You learn how to talk to different types of individuals. You learn how to handle different situations. And it's a definition of what business ownership is. Yeah. On someone else's back.
Okay.
And it's like, if you can communicate with someone who's pissed off and then next second go to someone who's a super happy family, and next time you go and talk to an old man at the bar, it's 3 different conversations in 10 seconds. Yeah. And you can communicate that way and get your point across to each one of them and be liked by all of them and be given tips and know that your service is good. That executes into business. And that was a reason that I was in hospitality from a very young age. From like 15, I was hired by a girl I went to school with dad. And then same concept was going to Greece, was simply just wanting to get out of Ireland, get some sun, at least just like have some freedom to think, to be in the sun, to meet some new people, shake some new hands, meet some new cultures. And, you know, I met some people there that I still talk to this day, but it was an experience because I was the only guy there.
And how old were you then?
17.
17. Okay, so that's 17 to 18, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you started A Players when?
I started A Players when I was 20, sometime 22 in October. So it was last March I started because.
Okay, so 18 to 20, what are you doing then?
So I came home from Greece and I was working in a shop and I was working in labor, so fixing pallets in a labor house. And then the reason I chose that job was because I could wear my headphones, I could listen to Jordan Belfort Sales School, which is all I knew at the time. Yeah. Because I was applying for sales jobs on Indeed to work with Heineken and Virgin Media to try get a fucking car to drive because I couldn't afford a car while getting a salary at the same time. I was like, let me try knock 2 birds with 1 stone. Got down to the final 10 in an in-person interview in Heineken in Cork in Ireland, and I came 6th out of the 5 places, which is the biggest blessing in disguise, obviously. And that motivated me to be like, okay, this is the new way of thinking. And then I started following Iman from YouTube because seeing his vlogs, which traveled on a private jet or something. And I was like, how is he doing this at this age? And applied for his sales position at the time at the end of 2022, got it at the beginning of 2023, 15,000 applicants, 1 or 2 positions at the time, one of the first 4 or 5 sales tips of the company. And the story went from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
15,000 applicants, 1 or 2 positions, you got one.
But do you know what I credit the success to is something that David Ogilvy actually says. He says, no matter what you're doing, no matter what agency it's in, become the best of that agency. Yep. So he said, whether you're a gasoline accountant working at the gas station, go out, talk to your customers, fill their car, go there early on a Saturday morning, look at the accounts, go visit the refineries, go talk to the distributors, go visit the railroads, understand gas more than your boss. Yeah. And by the end of that year, you'll be in a way better position to go and operate either something by yourself or get, you know, some sort of raise within the position. Yeah. Because the biggest issue nowadays is we see people wanting to move too fast without mastering the thing that they're doing first. Yeah. But they don't realize that with mastering the thing that you're doing first, you will naturally progress, but you will progress with more skill sets. And so when I was working with Iman, I was an SDR And most guys were way too impatient. We had to fire multiple guys who were like, I want to be closing. But you're not even the best SDR yet.
Yeah.
So like, what are you talking about? And I had multiple conversations where the guys were like, what do you want to be? I was like, in the future, leadership. But for now, I just want to be the best SDR.
An SDR is
sales development representative. So setting
someone
leads.
Who's setting appointments, warming leads up for someone else to close, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So new lead will come in, warm it up, put it on the calendar, hope it'll close.
Yeah.
There was one day.
You're getting paid
fuck all.
Minimal base.
Fuck all.
Right, yeah.
Fuck all.
But you're getting paid to book calls.
Yeah. No, I get paid when it closes. So you have to do a good enough job. You don't even get paid. No, not per booking. That happens sometimes with agencies, but with like info offers, it's not paid per lead because the leads could be just terrible. And so it's like you need to do a good job in the setting process. And I remember setting the company record one day. I was flying back from San Francisco, so I had like just 14 hours in a flight, and I did 42 sets in one day, which is I can imagine would still be up there on the company's records. Yeah. And that was a rewarding day as an SDR. But that just goes to show, like, there was sleepless nights. I have videos on my phone being up for like 18, 20 hours at a time and just hustling with the worst leads in the company. And it's like, that's what I believe is missing. Every person that I see that is successful is so focused on being the best at what they're currently doing. They don't care about the next step. They know the next step will come subconsciously. And that's probably the best advice I can give to someone at that stage. And even at a further along stage, is master the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had access at that time to Iman Gadzhi's program, what he's selling, the concept of it, how it helps people. So is that when you start seeing the problem that entrepreneurs have, or you start seeing that you could do something like this for yourself, but actually it solves a slightly different problem?
It's a really good question. I don't know if that played a factor. So what played a factor the most was the leadership within the company.
Okay.
Was seeing how they led people and motivated people that weren't earning a lot of money. So seeing how we'd show up as SDRs and know that if we went to any other offer in the industry, we'd probably earn more money, but we were still happier being there because we were learning. Okay. It didn't matter if we were earning, we were just learning. Yeah. And Paul, who was the CEO at the time, fed into me heavily, like flew me over to the US, bought me my first ever MacBook, and just said, I'm feeding into you because I see a younger version of myself in you. And leadership is that. Leadership is like, I see you potential in this person. It isn't met yet. Let me feed into him. Because if you feed into somebody as a leadership, you don't feed into numbers, you feed into people, and the people feed the numbers and the other people. And so people often confuse leadership as like you have to like drag someone, but like, you need to feed them with your information. You need to like bring them to where you are. You need to give them the extra sales and marketing intention. You just need to feed into them. And that played a huge ROI for him because I went on to lead the team, to bring other guys' numbers up and coach inside of the program and all that sort of stuff. And so to answer your question, I feel like it was more so seeing how they executed in regards to leadership than seeing how the program operated. Like that was definitely interesting, but I don't think it overlapped too heavily.
Okay, it's not similar to A players, right?
No, not yet.
So what are you doing after that? You got promoted, you become a team lead.
Yeah, closer. Team lead, first month of closer. I was started on the 10th of the month, given the oldest leads in the company, and then finished second on the closing leaderboard after 20 days with like 80,000 cash collected from the bad leads with the new starters. And then I was like, okay, like this is game time. Like next month, it was always one or two. Yeah, it was always like there was some guys super talented in that team, and it was always just back and forth. And so I learned from there, and then. Actually, we did an IQ test. So this is very interesting. So with Iman's team, we did an IQ test because we had so many applicants that all we wanted to do was see the consistencies in the IQ test of the high performers. Yeah. And then on the application process, people needed to fill in the IQ test, and then we'd see their natural dispositions compared to the natural dispositions of the guys that were already successful.
Okay, so like the disc profile or their personality profile. And so
exactly. And so that was just a degree of, you shouldn't do that in a small company because you need to actually talk to the people and understand and guess for yourself.
And have variations in your team as well, right?
Exactly. So it only really works at large scale because you don't have the time to individually go through every single person. Yeah. And so that was really good. So we've seen like, okay, the closers are naturally good here. The CSMs are good here. Let's hire from that pool of people. Yeah. And we know it's probably more likely to work, even though like sometimes the person with a CSM thing wouldn't actually work away. So sometimes there's like outstanders, but on the general that worked, yeah.
Okay. So you are out there for how long? Like
out where?
What happens to transition away from Iman Gadzhi's company when you're obviously making good money, Why didn't you just sit there forever?
I never wanted to be known as Iman Gaji sales rep.
Okay.
I don't know if it's ego. I wanted to create my own name. I knew I had time to do that.
Yeah.
The reason I left. Okay. It was a joint decision because I had started disagreeing with other people in leadership a bit. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but I believe in leadership, there should be discourse. And Jeff Bezos talks about this. In leadership, it's better to have conflict than just conversation.
Yeah.
Because you learn from conflict. And sometimes in leadership, conflict wasn't accepted or seen as a positive.
Okay.
Whereas I see conflict, and I know the greatest see conflict as, okay, there's a new perspective here that we need to learn, or something that they don't know because they look after certain people that we don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I read this in Entrepreneurship 2.0. If you have a management meeting where you present a new strategy and everyone agrees with it, the CEO is like, okay, we're going to scrap that and we're going to come up with something else that someone disagrees with.
Yeah.
Because if you all agree with it, that's not going to work. We need something where you can see the back and forth, where I can have converging views.
Yes. And you come to a middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to, or we keep that same strategy, but we need to reconvene in a week and you need to come to me with the issues that you've got on this.
Yeah. And it's like, because no strategy is ever perfect. Like very, very rarely.
And all you're doing is agreeing with me, basically.
And it's like, I told my team the other day, I was like, I presented them with an idea and they always like, yeah, that's a great idea. I said, I don't like this. I said, somebody disagreed with me. Yeah. It's like, but you need to give your team permission to do that. And so I don't necessarily blame everyone in the team at the time. Maybe they didn't feel like they had permission to disagree because, when there's such a status play, like when Iman's a CEO, you want to just please him. Like majority of people just wanted to be like, I just want to stay on his good side. I respect him. I care for what he's done. And that's understandable. And so I feel like maybe as a CEO, you need to give your team permission to disagree. And so last week I gave my team permission to disagree. I said, hey, if you think there's a better way of doing it from your perception, you're on the ground more than me. So you probably know. I know the overall vision, but I want you to say, hey, based off talking to 5 people today, I see this pattern. So I think this could work better. Let's try and let's test. So a lot of the reason of parting ways there was just conflict wasn't seen as too much of a positive. And, when you're in a company and you feel like one person is bringing down the rest of the team, which was the view because I was disagreeing with a couple of things.
But you wanted to give your input, right?
But I wanted the company to be better.
Yeah.
I always did.
Yeah.
I always did. And they know that. They know that. I just think I was immature in regards to my communication of my frustration. Okay. That's probably that's where I probably went wrong. And so it was a conversation me and him had where it was like, I think you want something different from the company than the direction I think that we should go in. And so it's like, it's better off you just going and doing something in that direction, because they were also going closer towards the lower ticket side of things where I wanted to obviously improve my skill sets. And I think, I'd be digressing my skills if I was going backwards and not forwards. And so just a mutual decision where I was like, look, go do your thing, go crush it. And still huge respect to this day. And actually, when I was buying my first watch, I met the guy, the dealer in Porto Romano, and I got my watch after like half an hour conversation, got up, turned around, and it was just a man walking towards me, which is like a full circle moment, which is just, which is crazy. And so, it was a great experience. And so that's how it ended, I guess, or that's how the journey was over that year and a half.
And then is there a gap between that and the start of A Players?
It's very small. It was like doing sales consultation on the side, private coaching, and, starting A Players. Just put it on my story saying I have this idea I want to execute on. First couple of guys going in, it not having a clear vision at the very beginning, which I think people get over confused on, and they want to overanalyze the vision of their company before they start it or before they have foundations. And so I was always taught to just act with speed and like you figure things out after you build a ship when it's sailing. And so I started it, was like, okay, do I like this? I don't really like this. Let me iterate this. Okay, now this is what our core offer is.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to do, to experiment with integrity and be very, very transparent with the people that are in their offer first. And so it went from end of last March, so over nearly a year and a half now, So it's been a while, but we've done.
So you've gone from 0 to 160 in a year and a half.
Yeah. So last month, I think.
I'm not going to swear.
We did. If I don't like talking revenue.
You don't need to talk about it. You got 160 members.
Yeah.
We can assume a price point. We're good.
Yeah.
We know it's good.
It's been good.
It's fast.
Yeah.
But all the members are happy. So it's not so fast the wheels are falling off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's incredible. So what you're saying is, and this is an interesting point, like I'm launching a business right now called Grow Beyond, part of the GrowFactor group.
Yeah.
We've always recruited into the Philippines and offshore teams.
Yeah.
80% of my staff are offshore, which is why most accountants have a 25% profit margin. My profit margin's between 50 and 55%. I don't mind saying that, right? We still deliver a great service. Our clients are happy. All the tapping happens offshore. All the high level consultancy stuff happens from the UK.
Yeah.
Or wherever we're hiring, right? Maybe we're hiring someone in Marbella or in Dubai.
Yeah.
And when I'm launching this recruitment business, I've hired someone to be head of this business because it's a new business. I don't have time as CEO to be running multiple different businesses. I'll give them the end goal. I want to get to 500K turnover by the end of the year, and they'll work out what the business plan is and they'll come back to me. I would rather just crack on because it's quite straightforward. It's a traditional recruitment agency. I recruit you someone, you pay me. If you're not happy with them, we'll replace them for free. Done. And if you want, you can pay per month a little fee and you get support and leadership on how to manage offshore teams. Easy, right? Mm-hmm. But the person I'm hiring says, no, I don't want to crack on yet. I want a month to do my business plan, my vision, my ideal client profile, my content strategy, my this, my that. Now, I'm okay with that because they're in charge of it, but that's a different type of person. I'm very similar to you, and I would just start. No website, no nothing. Just whack up a Notion site. Say, this is why you want to do it. Start picking your medium, like it'll be email marketing for us because we'll target accountants first, and just go. Yeah. So do you loop back and write down, this is my ideal client for your content guys. This is my vision. This is my, do you have like a 1-page business plan that says in 10 years, I want to be like this, or is it just always fluid?
It's mainly fluid. We want to, like one of our goals by 2028, make 10,000 millionaires through the power of network. Like that's one of our goals. But that's only recently I came up with that. I was actually in the gym like a couple of months ago. And my perception on that way of doing things is you can think all you want that you know who your ICP is. You can think you know your business plan. But until you go to the market, you don't know how much you can charge. Yeah. You don't know who your ICP is. Yeah. You don't know who's going to pay you the most money because you don't know enough.
You haven't done the research.
And so it's like, I would encourage anybody starting the business, whether it's in recruitment or whether it's an agency, etc., you go out and you sell.
Yeah.
And then you sell to many people, broad and wide, ideally an hour service, and you figure out who's going to pay me the most money for the least amount of work.
Yeah.
That is like how you operate a business. And so your way, like he might know more than me, and I could be wrong, but from my perception, it's like you could go away for a month and you could think that you know what you're doing, and you go to market and it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
And so it's like then you're so stuck in your ways that you're like then forced and pushing this one way, where realistically, if you stayed fluid, you could just realize, okay, for example, when we do content sprints, it's like, hey, we're going to post straight for 60 or 90 days. Then at the end of the 60, 90 days, by the way, in the 60, 90 days, we're testing every different angle, type of content, want of what we think our audience needs or wants, but we go wide. We don't just stick narrow, right? And then we don't care about the results. We don't care about the metrics. We don't care about the numbers. Then at the end of 60 days, we'll turn around and say, this worked, this worked, this worked, this worked. That's our core now.
Okay.
And so it was never like a stage of let's overplan content.
Yeah.
You execute and then you reassess, and because you realize you have time.
Yeah.
The business isn't supposed to go from 1 to 1 million in a month. It's like you have time. And so we had the same concept with our strategy for content as I would for business. And I'm not saying that at a like maybe at a really, really high leverage scale of like you're starting a business with huge investors and the software, you probably need that plan. But if you're just a recruitment agency, it's like you probably don't need that much.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Yeah.
I think like as well, if you're doing it yourself and you're part of everything day to day, you don't need the plan.
Yeah.
Maybe in my case, she's right to a certain extent. So she can write the plan and I can sign off on it. So she's happy that I'm on the same page as her.
Yeah.
I get that. So maybe it's slightly different. Okay. I want to get into some practical stuff. If that's all right.
That's lovely.
What do you think? Okay, I'm just going to add a question on here, right? In my view, a business should do 3 things. So this is practical for people. Maybe they don't want to start a community, but they want to achieve some semblance of your success. If you think about a triangle, I learned this from a guy called Taki Moore, actually, who's a really good coach.
I've heard of him.
He runs a community called Black Belt, charges $2,000 a month for this community, but it's all online. Yep. They run an event 3 times a year, and it's really around teaching. Why I don't like it is because I want to follow my own way.
Yep.
If you're in Black Belt, you have to follow the Black Belt way,
yep.
The Black Belt content plan, the Black Belt delivery model, But anyway, he's very successful. He says a business has to attract enough clients, okay, has to attract enough prospects, convert enough prospects into paying clients, and then retain those clients. So if we just take, does that make sense?
Yep.
If we just take each one of those, and a business will usually have a problem in each of them. You
yep.
don't have a problem in either of them. So if you had a leaky, or if your business was like a sieve and you were pouring in leads and converting them, but they were all leaving, you wouldn't have good recurring revenue, right? If you don't attract enough leads, doesn't matter if your conversion's 100%, you're not attracting enough leads. And if you attract loads of leads, but they're bad, they're not actually qualified leads, or you're just not attracting enough because your ads aren't working or your content's not working or so on, you're not closing enough. So let's take part 1. When you started versus now, how do you attract enough people? Because I know that people are applying and you're turning them away. So it's an application process for A players, which means you're generating enough leads.
Yeah, enough.
How are you doing it? And is it different now from when you started?
Yes, because at the beginning, and it's all been organic, so I can speak from my perspective of mainly organic and referrals, and to create referrals, because I think people often hate on referrals and word of mouth, but like if your business is at a referral word of mouth stage and it's growing that way nicely, that's a very healthy business, and the profit margins are likely insane. And so for me, when it comes to attracting clients, it's like your first clients should be, let's say your first 20 clients, you should be undercharging and over delivering.
Okay, so they become your evangelists, right?
They spread the word. They're your marketing team. And there's a fact that the average person has 7,200 conversations a year.
Where did you get that from?
It's a day.
I'm not saying it's not true. It's
year.
Just it's a great stat.
It's either a day or a year. I think it's obviously
they talk a lot. People talk a lot. People talk a lot.
Yeah. And so it's like, let's say if you even had 20 people talking at 7,200 conversations a year.
Yeah.
Which I think it's actually more than that a year.
ChatGPT will know.
He would.
I'll give you this example.
144,000 conversations is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
That you're not involved in. That's free marketing.
How often do you think I meet someone, talk to them for an hour, and don't mention Tony Robbins?
Not too often.
Never.
You wouldn't. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
And he will describe that as a raving fan.
100%.
And there's also this article, I think you've probably read it, 100 or 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly, is it?
Yeah. Something
I probably got his name wrong.
Yeah.
But that's the same concept, right? So if you're listening to this and you haven't read that, go and Google it. I mean, you'll find it. Kevin, 1,000 True Fans, something like that.
So there's a concept where it's like, there's nothing worse you can do for a bad product than good marketing.
Yeah.
And it's
especially
true.
At the start, because you're pounding a marketing machine into something that you haven't proven.
Exactly. And so the biggest advice I can give for young guys is, or even in general, is to create them 20 raving fans that will do the evangelizing for you, that will probably actually carry your community or carry your offer for you, because they're such heavy, they've received so much from it that they feel like they owe you something. And so it's like, now the 21st person that's joined, they came from an ad, they're going to be actually welcomed and looked after without even much of your effort from the other 20 people. And so it's like, I don't necessarily think that you should want attention until the attention that you already have is good enough. And that's like the whole concept at the beginning was A players was so cheap at the beginning, bro. And the ROI, and some guys are still paying the recurring revenue from the beginning. That was monthly, it's now yearly.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. You know those 20, sorry to interrupt, but before I'll forget this question. Say you're 5 years down the line, do you still know who those 20 are? Do you still treat them?
Yeah. They're
golden gloves, right?
They're everything to me. They are everything to me.
Yeah.
Like, they would have got clothing at a discounted rate. They would have just be invited to events at a discounted rate. They are my core, and I feed into them.
Yeah.
Like, what I learned from leadership was, if I feed into my first 20 guys, they will feed into the rest.
Yeah.
And like, if you are carrying a community by yourself, you're doing the whole concept wrong. It's like, you need to lead and then bleed into the core guys that align with your values, that will spread the word for you. There's one guy in particular here in Marbella, his name's Elliot. He's probably referred me like 80,000 in business just from like going out to the gym or to the club, and he'd meet guys in Marbella that would like align with us. And he just like, he loves us so much for what he paid. And so like, that's marketing.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a bit about the black belt stuff that you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's like the reason most people do this, and also it's the reason that you're successful versus others that aren't, is he sells the concept of you need to do this strategy, my strategy of this, my acquisition, my content strategy, because I'm going to say it frankly, everyone's actually dumb. Like I've done
they're running a business, but really they're not qualified to. They
haven't a fucking clue. They're asking the same question 10 times.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, how have you not figured it out by yourself? And it's like, some people just aren't cut out to be business owners. And so they feel like, I need this guy's content strategy because I can't think of my own. I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Or like, I can't experiment enough, or I'm not original enough to go think of somebody else's, or think of my own. And so his strategy works well to sell because, but what I feel is I want to create people who can think for themselves. Like I always say to guys, they ask me a question, I'm like, well, have you asked yourself the question first? I try figure it out first. Don't come to me and ask me a question that, because if I train my people and my guys to be able to ask themselves the right question and answer it for themselves, that training to ask the right question and problem solve is more valuable than anything, than any strategy you can give. Because them strategies, they fade, they're trends.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. And it only works for a really specific subset, and only if you follow it to the letter. And even though you're paying $2,000 a month for that, a lot of people get a lot of value from it, right? Great. I'm not going to say negative things about Taki. He's got good intentions. He's a very intelligent guy. It didn't work for me because you're paying this money. So you're in a position financially to have a team, but the whole concept of the implementation of the education is that you're doing it yourself as a CEO. And I don't want to do that. I want to build a team. So my hours are going down and down and down and down and down. So if I'm building a team, they don't need to have access to that. I'm hiring experts to do it for me, right? Which is the concept of A players, that you've got access to those trusted experts. I totally agree. And then you're not just having the amount of people that I see that are coaches. So there's a lot of fitness professional coaches that do this. They even use the same font as him. Yeah. Like they've copy pasted his deck. I don't understand where the rewarding bit of running your own business comes from, because it's just copy paste someone else's business. That's not your business. And like as you said this perfectly here, is instead of spending $2,000 a month investing into someone else's strategy, spend $2,000 a month finding out your brand. And it's like, if you want to be long-term sustainable in business, especially if you're young, you have the time and you've probably the finances to burn because money's just abundant. You need to test your own shit, because when you test your own shit, you find your own flavor. And it's, if you're copying somebody else, you're building a fucking extra leg of their brand. You're not building your own brand that's sustainable. And that's why I think people end up hating their business, because they build business based off 100% of everybody else's advice, versus, as in, they think they're building into the actual vehicle or the business model that they want to do, but they're building with the strategies of everybody else. Yeah. And so A Players is my business that I wanted to run with my strategy. Never looked at competitors ever. I see competitors every day having the exact same call to action in their bios, saying network partner, travel brand in their bios as well. It's like for me, it's like, you're not sustainable doing that. It's like, I understand that you can take inspiration, but you can't take direct inspiration. And actually, I said to my team the other day, I sat down. This is what I loved about the leadership from Paul and some of the other guys within Iman's team at the time, was I learned how to communicate this sort of stuff. So I sat down with my team and I said, 80% of your time, maybe even 70% of your time should be spent doing playbook stuff. Okay, we know what works, the simple things like the ad setups. Yeah. The majority of creatives, the sales process, there's templates. Okay, understood. But I don't want you to spend 30% of your time doing the most random shit that you can do to find something that you haven't seen before, right? Yeah. Because like, the way we create brand is by experimenting with scripts, with creatives, with marketing, with branding, with content. And if we experiment enough, we'll find something that nobody else has found that will work. Yeah. And when you're the first to a new trend, you create a brand. Whereas people are trying to create a personal brand off of everybody else. Yeah, it's like, that's not your personal brand. But it's so easy. Even I've done that. And even recently I've done that. Oh, here, marketing team, here's a profile that I really like. Yeah. Let's emulate their content. Yeah. It's a natural reaction when you don't understand something. Like, I'm not an expert on content. I'm an expert on finance and tax.
Yeah. So right? that's where you need to hire for content.
Yeah, like, but someone who has that
But
it's very
content
difficult
is the hardest hire to hire for.
Yeah.
Because you either have the fucking, because it's not about how it looks aesthetically, it's how it's psychologically affected the person who's watching.
And what you should go after. So like for my business, for example, people are trying to aspire actually to a certain lifestyle and financial freedom.
Yeah.
And the accountancy allows them to make decisions to be more successful. The tax planning allows them to pay less tax, to have more cash.
Yeah.
But maybe your content shouldn't be about that. It should be about the result. But it's someone who understands what you should be doing. And like you said, experiments enough to work out what works.
So either you pay someone by the hour who is a guaranteed that you know they are expert to train your team. So for example, I paid Dan Martell's creative director €500 for an hour with my head of creative director.
Yeah.
And so it's like, not that Matteo doesn't know what he's doing, he just can know more.
Yeah.
And as a CEO, it's your responsibility. You don't necessarily hire everyone who knows exactly what they're doing because they probably cost too much money. You hire because they have potential to know what they need to do.
Yeah.
And then you feed into them. And so you're not going to hire the full shilling, but invest into them, the team, because I invest into my team heavily. So they can understand the creative flows and understanding the perception of how the top guys operate. And that's like our responsibility as CEOs, I believe. And so
but that fits with your philosophy of educating your team versus what you could have done is gone in Dan Martell's program and then been indoctrinated in Dan Martell's way of you do it this way and this way and this way. You've not done that and said, just give me the high level.
Yeah, give me the creative. I think paying by the hour is probably the best way to learn.
Yeah.
Because if you pay by the hour to experts versus for courses, you pay by the hour to get exact strategy and advice. And if you're actually fucking smart and a good CEO, it actually takes a week to execute on everything. Like you don't need to ask questions every day. It's like if you actually want to execute, once every 2 weeks is enough to meet somebody, because if you get an hour of a breakdown of what you need to do, you go and execute it and you wait 2 weeks for the results to come in and then you bring it back to them, then you re-execute.
Yeah.
Paying by the hour, I think is so underrated and no one does it. And I've actually promoted a lot of the guys in A players saying, this guy with an A players is an absolute fucking legend of what he does. Just pay him for $200 for an hour.
Yeah.
And the ROI is there. And so paying $2,000 a month for a course or...
Yeah, I get it. I have a mentor. He's sold 3 or 4 businesses for minimum 30 mil. He's not going to educate me on content and the modernity of business, but he knows how to create a business. He knows business fundamentals. So I can have a conversation with him and just explain in an hour where I'm at, and he'll go, you need to change this, this, and this. And then I can go away and do it. I might not speak to him for another year.
Exactly.
You know, right now we got positive pains of scale. I've got a call with him next week. I'll tell him what the issue is. He'll advise me on sales team structure, recruitment, and so on. And then I get on and do it. Happy days. So all of this is organic. You're just putting out content. People are probably inquiring on the DMs on Instagram. Yeah. And you're taking them through a normal, which you're an expert in, sales process to get them to be educated in whether A players is right for them or not on a consultative sales process, right? But the referrals, do you incentivize those? Do you pay a referral fee?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course.
And too many people don't do this because they think, I don't want to pay referral fees for whatever reason.
The way I look at it is like, it's essentially what your ad spend would be.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to acquire a new client, you either need to create certain content, which means you lose hours, or you are paying ad spend regardless. So if someone's going to go out of their way and simply bring someone to you who's ready to pay, you saved money. Yeah. So pay the money that you would have saved. Simple as that.
Sometimes though, I think like with me, we pay such a big referral fee. I could run ads and pay way less, but I'm creating a long-term partnership that doesn't stop when the algorithm stops. I'm creating something where I'm happy to give that because I know that's going to be a quality client. And so actually the profit margins on delivery are better for me.
Yes.
Because they're a consistent, you know, an A players client referral for me will be a good client.
For next 30
because
years.
It's a driven, they're young. It's a driven entrepreneurial person, right?
Exactly.
So I can afford to pay more than it would have cost me in ads.
So in business, there's diversification versus integration. And I've learned this recently. So diversification means, hey, I run a community, let's say, for example, let me go do videography on the side to earn some extra cash flow. It has fucking nothing to do with your business. So it's actually going to harm and take away from the long term and the short term of your business. Yeah. Versus integration into your business, what people often get confused is they say like, you have your business, you just never diversify, which they don't really understand the term diversify that they're using for when they say, I want to add a leg to my business. And to me, that's the healthiest thing you can do. So it's like you have your referrals for your company, then you have ad spend, and then you have organic content.
Yeah.
That's 3 avenues of income. And it's like, well, is it diversifying if you start a podcast because it's not directly helping your clients? Is it diversifying if you organize this referral program because you're going out of your way to organize these contracts, you're going out of your way to give extra effort towards this community that there's not a direct ROI on? And so people are too focused on, here's my one stream, focus, don't diversify. For example, I had the community and I was like, let me start a clothing brand on the side with my community's, I guess, name on it.
Yeah, I want one of those tank tops, by the way.
Yeah, there's none left. They got robbed. I need to order. I'll order some more.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
so
pretty sick.
At the community, and then I was like to my friend at the time, who was a business advisor, I said, I want to start the clothing brand. And he was like, don't do it. It's diversification. And I took it in and I was like, okay, mate, you're probably right. Then I sat down and I realized, no, it's not. That's branding.
Yeah.
And so there's 2 lessons there. Number 1 is no matter who you're getting advice from, you need to be able to discern whether you feel like it's good enough for you or not. And the odds are, if it's not, you learned. And if it is, you know how to think for yourself.
Yeah, have your own mind. Like, you can work that through though. I get what they're saying, because if you're going to start running an e-commerce business, that's not good unless you put someone else in charge of it. But what you're doing is complimentary merch for members. Totally different. Not complimentary as in they pay for it. So there's a revenue stream.
Yeah.
But it's like this. My kids went to, and my little one is so, well, they're both so clever. But the little one wants to talk about business. He's already interested in business. He's only 9. He said, oh, we went to Winkings, and they gave us a balloon. That was really nice, and a hat. But he said, I know why they did it, because when we walked back with the balloon and the hat, that's marketing, isn't it, Daddy? I was like, I was about to cry. I'm like, yes, Jackson, it's marketing.
That's amazing.
And what's marketing designed for? I teach him when I drop him off to school. I'm always giving him business lessons, right?
That's amazing.
I said to him, I'm going to do a podcast with James. You know James from A Players? Yeah, we know him. Because I talk about you to him. Why would I do that? Why would I have a partnership? Oh, so you can generate additional customers. Yes, but also we want to have partnerships because they create friendships and we can help each other and it's win-win for both businesses. So yeah, even kids know that is a good concept, right?
I want to go into a few things there. So to finish off with the branding, it was like, it's not an ROI play. It's like, it actually, e-commerce is a fucking headache, especially with clothing, and the margins are ass. And there's some crazy stories about how we had to fucking do a 4-hour drive to Sevilla to try get clothes delivered the day before we were flying to Milan for a Hyrox, because we needed to have them there in that time. There was times that they got held in customs in Ireland the day before we were flying to Rome because we had a Rome marathon. And it's like, so was it worth it? Short-term mind, was it worth it? No. Long-term mind, when people are wearing our clothes, when it's on the Instagram, does it create more brand credibility, and does it just look cool?
Yeah.
And is it when I'm not there, they're going to gyms, they're going to high-level restaurants, etc., and they're wearing this clothes? That's marketing. And it's like, it's not an ROI. It adds a leg to your business and adds credibility to your business. So there's so much hate on doing something that just makes your business more credible in the long term. Like, partnerships are so underrated. They are. People don't like, they're so headstrong on, I'm doing my own thing, I don't want to partner with anybody else, don't want to give credibility to anybody else. But they don't realize that even like the likes of Fendi right now are like doing partnerships with La Plaza and Nobu to have interior of Fendi and like Hermes and all this sort of stuff inside of their buildings as sponsors. It's like, well, when someone, it's not a direct ROI because you're giving away expensive blankets that could have been sold somewhere else, but like, now people from nowhere going in, they're like chilling on these Hermes blankets, they're seeing it, or it's on their Instagram stories now. I know they have the perception that they've been chilling in space with Hermes blankets, and now they're going to need to go home and buy some more Hermes blankets. Yeah, it's like it's a long-term ROI and brand play. And so the reason that we're working together is like, you can bring me clients, I can bring you clients.
Yeah, 100%. But also going back to if you have a genuine interest in helping your clients, the profit flows as a result rather than being profit driven. So I know our first conversation was, you didn't say, oh, this is how much money I can make from the partnership. Yeah. You didn't even ask me what the referral fees were. Your initial thing was, oh, do you know what? I've had 3 or 4 guys that have been struggling with their finances. I want to put someone in place that we can trust. And you having a partnership with Tony Robbins, obviously we want to build our own trust relationship, and you have to do that with any partner before you formalize it. Yeah, but the fact that Tony's chosen you for 7 years to be an exclusive partner, that shows a lot. Yeah. So we can skip forward some of that. you can help providing free support initially and advice for my members. And I want them to have that. I want them to have someone to go to who's not just going to sell them, to give them financial or tax advice.
Yeah.
And that's where I think also there's some separation in entrepreneurs who are just profit driven. You can make a lot of money, but it's not sustainable.
No.
If you try to help people, you will get an ROI, you will get referrals and so on. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Like actually that section, and I want to keep this in as well, is so good. If I'm listening to this or I'm watching it, guys, I would rewind 15 minutes and just listen to that whole thing again and actually take action on it. Because the way that Tony Robbins scaled into having, I think he's got 800 billion global turnover, something ridiculous. Oof. How many of those businesses do you think he's actually running?
Fuck all.
Yeah, they're all partnerships. And I'll tell you now, if I don't get sued for this, hopefully I won't, and it won't mess up my partnership, is that he'll create a business with, let me be careful about what I'm saying. Okay. He'll create a business with someone else that you co-own. Okay. The revenue from partnership revenue, this is the long-term play. It doesn't go into his business and then a referral fee gets paid. It goes into a separate company, separate entity. Then at the end of the month, quarter, year, or whatever, that gets split according to your agreed referral rate. But why do you do that? Because the recurring revenue from those clients that gets built up has a saleable value. If you own that company 50-50 with your partner,
equitable value,
you both are getting short-term gains and long-term saleable exit value. Does that make sense?
100%.
So that's the difference. He will take it to another level because he wants the back end as well as just this. He doesn't just want cash flow.
Yeah.
He wants long-term valuations. But partnerships are incredible. Okay, so that's a track. Do you want to say anything more?
I want to say one more thing because I want to make it as simple to understand as possible for people to imagine how to integrate it into their own business. And discernment is the number one skill set that young entrepreneurs can have, by the way, to discern information, to apply information that you don't directly apply to you, but you can take it in ways that can apply to you is very, very important. So I'll get it as simple as possible. John D. Rockefeller owned 90% of Standard Oil in the US in the 1800s. He didn't just want to own the oil. He was like, let me own the refineries, let me own the distribution, let me own the railroads, let me own the trains. And so it's like when you have your foundation of whatever your offer is, it's like, what's 80% of people who's in that offer doing or in that company doing that I can add as a leg that makes me more profitable?
Yeah.
And so it's like, regardless of whether John D. Rockefeller had competition or not, which he would likely drain out and buy and acquire the founder, he was like, let me just own the railroads, the distribution. So like if I have competition, they have to go through me regardless.
Yeah.
So how can you think like that long term? Not like straight away, but how can you think long term? What legs can I add to my business to make me more profitable that my ICP is most likely doing anyway?
Yeah, and going to someone else, and
exactly.
You're not getting a piece of it, and you don't know whether they're going to someone that they can trust.
Exactly. So John,
and if their business goes bust because they went to someone that they couldn't trust, they're no longer going to be paying you money. They're no longer going to be your client. So it's in your interest to create success in their business.
100%. And so it's like John got the first exclusive partnership deal with the railroads in the US, and like the oil companies were raging. The other competitors were raging that he got these special rates that they didn't get because he brought in the most business.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really good way to look at it. And a friend of mine said, and a mentor of mine said, each year you should make one Rockefeller move. And so I love that concept. Each year make one Rockefeller move. And so that's either adding an integration into your business, which is the equivalent of the railroad, the refineries, the distribution into your oil company, or the equivalent is, hey, so there's a competitor now next door. John would go in, he'd undercut the prices in that state, drain that company to the ground, and then hire the CEO of that company for his company to keep expanding. It was crazy. And so like, not to that extreme because we're not in that stage of business anymore, but like, what's that one Rockefeller move that you can either acquire a competitor for an insanely low price or some form of acquisition, or integrate something into your business that makes you sustainable for long term. And I love the concept of the Rockefeller move. I was like,
I love that. Where did you read about that or learn that?
I learned that from listening to a podcast and also reading 38 letters to his son, and also just like some YouTube research, and also he's a book called Titan, which I read a bit of.
Yeah,
I very rarely finish books, so I read like what I've liked, and then I was like, okay, I'm done.
I'll get into that actually, reading and learning. Okay, so conversion, you speak to people presumably on the phone, on a call at the start about A players, and you convert them using the same process that you learned from your role as a closer with Imangazzi, right?
Yes.
And you're not trying to convince people. I guess it's very similar to me. I'll show my expertise. I'll give them my advice on what they would do. And if they want to do that with us, great. If they don't, and then there's no chasing after you've presented the offer. How do you sell? Is it like that? Or are you more like pushing them because you know it's the right decision? So you know you're doing it for the right reasons, but you are putting a bit more sales approach into it.
There's two things to that. Number one is if I feel like someone just has limiting beliefs, I'll push them. As in like, because I know that there's so many guys who've joined us who've said, James, I'm so grateful that you pushed me that time because I was being a pussy, straight up. And look, one of them is living over here now. He's in the best shape of his life. He's earning the best money, and he was scared to spend that money with us last summer. Yeah. And like his life has just 10x. And so like when I know and I feel the responsibility to change someone, I will change. I will try my best.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just say like, bro, like best luck. You're just not for us. But one of the things to do with offering, which I learned recently enough, is like we were offering the network, the taxes, the finance, the concierge, all in one bundle, including the pricing.
Yeah.
And what we learned is like someone might come to us and not feel that taxes is like their next stage, or not feel that financial investments are next stage, or not feel that concierge is needed. And so they'd assume the price is then the value of all of this.
Yeah,
now.
I get that. I totally have had this too.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, things need to change. So we just completely focused on selling the network and the trips. It's like, because that's what the perceived value and what the 80% of the guys want to come in. So we choose.
And there's education as well, right?
There's education.
That's included.
Yeah, we have like special guest speakers on that sort of stuff as well. But it's like, from our branding and marketing, why would they apply and what are they looking to get?
Yeah.
And so it's like, make your offer as narrow and valuable as possible within that narrow state. Okay. And everything else is a free bonus.
So sales is just not about just how you talk to them. It's also about your offer.
Yeah, because like,
form part of
because like, let's say you say to them like, hey, I'm going to have you with your accountancy, your setup, and other things that come with that, but it's not what they need right now. Yeah. And then you tell them the price, they're like, but I don't need this. That's expensive. Whereas it's like, we're going to help you with this. Here's what our ROI is going to be. And over the next stage, over the next 6 months, or next year, 6 years, these are some added benefits that we have just included in this pricing. Yeah. Versus this is the pricing for all of this. You know, that makes sense.
I get it.
So that was like a lesson that we learned recently, was like, your offer is one thing. It's not 5 things. As much as you think it's valuable, you have to think about your customer, what they think is valuable, and the rest is just free sauce.
What I'd love to know, but I don't think we're ever going to get this answer, is why does it take someone like me 42 years to learn these kind of lessons and you're learning them at 21? Not 42 years, but to get to 42. So we used to pitch people as a holistic service, right? So if we're doing whole outsource finance team, it's your bookkeeping, it's your VAT returns, it's your end of year accounts, it's all the stuff you need from a legal perspective. So we put this in the boring but needed section. Then we have the tax planning section. Then we have the fluff section, where access to client community, online course that I've created, this, that, and people would constantly come back and say, well, I don't need all that. Yeah. So can you lower the price?
Yeah.
But I only put that in there to increase conversion.
You thought it was valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I took it out.
Yeah.
And I still give it to them anyway. Yeah. I just don't give it in the sales process.
Exactly.
But I learned that at 42.
Yeah.
How are you learning this at 21? Why are people going so far? How are people so far ahead of people who are in my generation?
But they're also so far behind because they won't be there at your age. It's like, there's two sides to the coin. It's like, we're getting exposed to so much information so fast. And so what's happening is everybody knows nearly everything.
Yeah.
But what's wrong is they're doing it in an unsustainable way.
Yeah.
And so the value of you being in a marketplace 20 years ago to where you've like physically had to go out and like find and probably fucking read books and do insane research when there's barely internet to like figure out how to start your business means you are extremely credible, and people look at you at your age with your success and be, I want to work with him, versus the 22-year-old who probably knows more because they see your experience and you've been in the game for so long that you probably know more. So I think it's such a unique dynamic to where it's like, you will always have that trust more than we have that trust. And now it's it's harder for us more than ever because there's so many distractions and so many new business models and new strategies and AI and softwares, and the lady in the red dress is at every corner for us. Whereas for you guys, it was more like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like extra, and there was no like
simple
distractions.
It
really, it's simple, very straightforward. And so I don't know how long people are going to last, because I'm having conversations with people that I either meet on the street somewhere or I coach inside of some other place, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if this guy's going to like last, which is sad.
And they're getting there quicker because there's more access to information.
Exactly, because it's so easy. It's so easy to make 10K a month, but it's not easy to run a business.
Growth.
It's not. And I'm scared for the future, because I'm like, these guys who earn 10K a month who actually can't function and run a business, they've now got used to this certain lifestyle and perception, but a lot of them won't be where they are. They'll actually have to go back to normal jobs or something else in the next 5 years. And what I'm scared of is society's health, that we've been exposed to so much and it's so easy right now. And then when it becomes not easy and you're not able to handle it as a CEO because you're not made for business, because I believe entrepreneurship was made in a way to where it's like, school system is the school system because if you break out, fair fucking play to you, and you've succeeded, you've won. Whereas now it's so accessible to where it's like everyone can do it. So the people who actually aren't made for it can actually do it easily enough. And I think that society is going to go into a state of depression in the next 5 years to when these guys can't sustain the business and they have to go back to normal life. And then women's perception of what they should be doing and how they operate is now tainted because of social media. Their perception of themselves is low. So I'm thinking, I don't know where 80-90% of this market is going to be in 5-10 years time. It's kind of scary.
But for you and for people in the community, you're making them aware of this so that you can prepare, right? Like, for that time.
100%. It's all about teaching them critical thinking, but then it's also about like, okay, well, if shit hits the fan and their business model goes tomorrow, we know and we trust them to be someone who can execute on what they're doing. So they'd probably form some sort of partnership or get some sort of ideation on the next move in the market.
Yeah, because if like you're stuck, it's about being resourceful, right?
Exactly.
If you don't have this community, you don't have access to the resources. Simple. Yeah. If you're stuck and you can't make a decision, or you're stuck on something and you're banging your head against the wall, what's the solution to that? Resourcefulness. You can't just go to ChatGPT because you're reading the same shit that everyone else is reading. You need to go to your own people.
It's like if World War III happened tomorrow and there's two scenarios. Either you're alone in the countryside of fucking Alabama and you have this one house and you have no shops around you, no people, no basement, no food storage. It comes and you're stuck there and like shit hits the fan essentially. Or you're in a neighborhood where there's a shop there, business owner here, guy with guns here, guy with storage for the next 5 years here. It's like they're going to be fine. Like, they're probably going to be able to fight their way out or like be in the basement long enough, they can come together and work it out. And they know the next step together, whereas this guy's just cooked. And so it's like, if a business model changes or if AI comes in and completely wipes away the need for media buyers or ads or whatever it is, and 40% of the market loses its value, it's like, okay, well, are they going to be around someone who they know they can go to fix their problems and help fix their problems or partner with something? Or are they just like, I don't know what to do, I'm gone.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of a business that creates more growth, profitability and cash flow now, but also reduces failure risk.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah. Because it's I feel like we ignore that side.
Yeah, and this side, like the failure risk of GrowFactor clients, which is my company as a chartered accountancy tax consultancy, is 0.05%. The failure rate of the market is 96%.
Yeah.
Why? Because most businesses fail because they don't understand the numbers.
Yeah.
And we give them that clarity.
Yeah.
But people don't want to do this, reduce the risk of failure stuff, because that's boring.
Yeah.
Or they want to put their heads in the sand.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start boxing things together. Do you know what? We're going to have to do a series of these because I could literally talk to you all day.
Let's
I really enjoy this conversation.
Let's keep going.
I'm learning as well, which is why I only want to interview people that I can learn from.
Yeah,
what are your 3 keys to success? These are more like quick fire.
Yep.
So
3 keys to success.
Yeah.
Number 1 is discernment. So getting given information and being like, no matter who it's from, no matter what the source is, or no matter who gave the information or what YouTube guru it was, or what course it was in, and being like, I don't want to do it that way, I want to do it my own way. I think discernment, there's too many, as we said at the very beginning, 100% copycats of like, this is my way or the highway.
Yeah.
Of whoever's course you buy, and that's just not how you run a business.
Yeah.
It's like, you're an employee if you can't think for yourself. Other 3 traits I'd say is communication skills.
Yeah.
obviously in my business it's predominant, but I just talk to whoever I'm close by, and so it's just like the sauna theory of, if you're in the sauna and there's a 60-year-old man here and you're the only other guy in the sauna, just talk, because if you can
find it difficult, force yourself to do it.
Force yourself to do it, 100%. And so it's having that conversation with the people that you have nothing that you can relate to on, and be able to find the middle ground, because if you can do it with someone you can't relate on, it just can improve your communication skills for when you need them.
And do you know what? I'm going to take your advice and put my 10 and 9-year-old into hospitality job as soon as they can.
Yeah, as soon as they can.
Not for the money, for the skill set.
Yeah, because like people are so awkward nowadays, because like, well, in hospitality you also can't be on your phone for 8 hours. It's the only place that you probably can't be on your phone for 8 hours. You have to be just talking and there's not many places you can get that nowadays, because if they start their own online business, they could become fucking geeks in their own little four walls, and that it's not going to help with their communication.
Yeah.
So it's a communication, discernment, I guess we could just say access.
Yeah.
Access to the right people, access to the right opportunities. Because I know, like, for example, if someone gets into sales and they come to me, the odds I can find them a job versus if they go out to the marketplace and ask for one, the odds that's a better job, longer lasting, higher paying, is like 100%.
Yeah.
And so whether it's business partnerships, like, or whether it's hiring, or whether it's hiring agencies, or whether it's e-com products, whatever it is, access to the right people with the right knowledge.
Yeah, don't try and do it all on your
Exactly,
own, right? Yeah. How important are surroundings? Like, I've come here instantly, I have a different mindset. Yeah. Instantly.
It's crazy.
Like, a really great thing happened recently where I didn't talk to you about this. I saw that you were speaking at Mind Your Business event in Marbella.
Yeah.
So I DM'd the organizer.
Yeah.
And said, are you looking for any speakers? Have you got any speakers around finance and tax? To speak to what we spoke about, credibility. They've obviously gone to my profile, had a look. Tony Robbins' partner, been around for this long, credible. He said, yeah, jumped on a quick call, and then they announced me as a speaker today.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Main stage, baby.
Let's go. Baby, we back.
Let's go. But that is a mindset thing, right? Now, when I'm in England, I'm in my little, I have a big house, but my office is a tiny little office on the front of the house. It's raining. People are moaning. People are miserable. I have a totally different mindset. I come here, Airbnb, by the beach, see the sea. Yesterday, AirPods on, bit of Cafe Del Mar, doing a few messages, sat there. Game changer.
Yeah.
So for me, it's massive. But for you, how important are surroundings?
Man, it's everything. Like, I don't even know how to conceptualize or put into words surroundings. And what the Ireland and the UK and Europe's done is, like, they've made it literally incapable of living in the place that you live. It's like the weather is one thing, and like we could probably bear with that if we had access to the right people, the right conversations, co-working areas that were funded by maybe even governments or whatever it was. We could probably bear living in our countries. It's unbearable. And so it's like when you go abroad and you see the nice cars, and that gives you this subconscious reminder of like, I want to achieve that and I can achieve that, and these people who get out of it, they don't look like the smart people in the world, so I can probably do it too.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's also,
they look normal, right?
Normal.
Yeah.
Normal. And, you go to the gym and you have conversations with, millionaires left, right, and center, and then, they give you their perspective on certain things. So like, I can't even say, and if you can't watch a podcast like this where we're talking about all this sort of stuff and realize the power of not being in your four walls in the UK or in Ireland, and instead being around wealth, opportunities, and access, like, how can you not see that? And how can you not feel like if you don't have huge responsibility that it's worth the move?
Yeah, if you don't have kids, move. Full stop for me. Now I've got my boys, they're in school, really good education in the UK. They go to a really good private school. They've just got already accepted pre-11 plus to the high school, so they don't even have to sit it, which is great, or it's just a paperwork exercise, right, which is amazing. But I can get away to Dubai for 4 days every month. I can come to Marbella for 4 days every month. I'm still there with them for the majority of the time. And wherever possible, I can bring them with me.
Yeah.
And we know that we're only there for their education.
Yeah.
And as soon as they hit 16, they can make a decision with us about where they want to be.
Yeah.
But there's no way that I'm retiring and living the whole rest of my life in the UK. Not a chance.
It's just...
Unless it changes.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult. Maybe now London, okay, maybe that's different. there are areas where you can meet people. There are networking groups. There are co-working spaces, right? That's different.
In the main cities,
But then if you've got a family, you don't want to bring them up in central London. So it's very difficult.
It's just if you're near the sun and the right people, like your life just gets 10x better. It's just ridiculous.
Move. Bit of advice for you. How important has it been as well in your own business? Just planning and minimizing your tax liability and knowing your numbers.
Oh, man. I hired a COO recently, like a head of operations, and knowing my numbers, my ROAS, my CTRs, my CAC, the clarity of a predictable business, well, predictable in quotation marks, you're always going to have shit months, but knowing what you can put in and get out majority of the time, that's how you run a business.
Yeah.
100%. And like having clarity in regards to where to go for taxes and having the conversations that we've had recently with the people that we had the conversations with, and knowing that I wouldn't have got that anywhere else, and like genuinely saving a ridiculous amount of money and being able to have access to that money to be able to invest it now and to be able to reinvest into my business or into the markets. That's like the biggest issue with earning money in Ireland, UK and all that sort of stuff at a young age. Is like, you might earn a lot corporately, but like to take it out personally and to invest it, you're slashing into the money. You're halving it. It's like you can't sustain or grow really without access to capital. And so what I've realized recently is like the most successful people that I've studied, they had access to the brain's opportunities in their young age, and they found access to capital, whether that's through investors, whether it's through friends, whether it's through partners, and they multiplied it. And so us to have access to our own capital based on tax strategies and setups at a young age is a necessity, because you don't want it to come back to haunt you, and you also want to have access to your capital to create a good future for yourself in 10 years time.
And if you are not nomadic, but you're working out where you want to live. You're in Marbella for a while, maybe you're in Dubai for a while, maybe you go somewhere else for a while. When you meet someone, you might settle, you might pick a place, then it's different. But for now, you want to make sure, like you said, you've done everything by the book. Because the worst thing that could happen is you've got this amazing business and then you almost get shut down by the taxman because you've done something wrong. That's not what we want.
No.
And we want to know our numbers. I love that you speak about all of that stuff, because what you want to know is, okay, if I'm generating this many leads over here, based on past data, this is how much revenue will pop out over here. Because I know my revenue and I know all my costs, this is how much profit there is. Because I know how much I'm drawing down, this is how much cash flow my business generates.
Input, output.
And I would say 99.9 people don't have anywhere near that input-output clarity.
But they'll spend 2K a month in a course to get more leads, and they have no idea what the leads are getting. Which is just on marketing. Yeah. It's like hire someone who can show you a dashboard of what your numbers are. Hire an operations guy. Hire a sales guy that can convert them as good as possible. It's like, I don't really understand people.
What's next for A players and for you?
Events and software.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about that.
So to spread word and to give experience of network, as I said, I feel like I need to create an experience that's different. I want to bridge the gap between new age way of doing things and old age way of thinking. And so I want to have events where it's like 1,000 people, but it's like 1 or 2 or 3 guys who are operating heavily profitable business based on the new way of operating business, and bringing in the guys who have been successful in software and business for the last 15, 20 years to implement their foundations and way of thinking and operating because they didn't think, let me build a profitable business. They just thought, like, let me build a business and operate as best as possible. They didn't think about 100K months. They just thought, like, let's scale a business. And so they would have done that in, even losing money for like 2 years to make money in the long term. So like the way they think is just completely different. So I want to bridge that gap. And then software wise is, when we talk about Johnny Rockefeller and the integration of, the refineries, distribution and the railroads, I was like, well, my competitors and people in this world are networking and I'm not involved in some way, or they're hosting events and I'm not involved in some way. So it's like, how can I create the digital real estate of networking, which is the software that's going to be. And I won't give away the name. I don't want to give away too much of the concept as well. So I'll keep some things to myself, but it should be out next week or two, the MVP. And essentially the concept's going to be, well, if I go to organize an event publicly with A players, it's like I put a thing up on my story, people are DMing me, I have to add them to group chats manually, get their phone numbers, I have to resend the itinerary every time, I have to keep them updated. If the itinerary changes, people are asking questions, where's the itinerary? The pin chats disappear on WhatsApp. the Google Drive links after you host an event. Oh, where's that link? Where's them pictures? Everything is all over the place and it's a head wreck. And, it's going to cost you $500 a month to have an assistant minimum, even if you hire from the Philippines.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a software to where it's like, I can host an event, simple as it's location, it's time, it's here's the place where the owner can update the itinerary, here's like the links, etc. That's the event. He creates the event, it comes up on the map. People who either can be publicly, can see that event based on it being suggested for them, or it's a private event that, you can post to your story with a link and they click on the link. The whole itinerary breakdown is there. They can RSVP themselves too. If they're accepted, they're simply added to their group chat. Group chat has the itinerary top left corner, has the profile top right corner, network, add them on Instagram, etc. If you own your own community, it can have its own badge. And so you can have your own community within the app itself as well.
Okay.
So you can see, okay, here's the upcoming events just for my community. Here's the members across the world just for my community. And so it's like, if you're coming to Marbella and you don't know who to go to, you don't know what events to go to, you're just coming here by yourself, you then know, here's the upcoming events in Marbella, here's the guys that are suggested to me based on my profile, and here's any public events that I can attend and RSVP myself to. And
nice.
So it's like access to network, access to the right people suggested by your profile. And I'm like, I know it's going to work because I need it for myself.
Yeah.
I need it to run events because events are so hard to manage if you don't have everything in one place.
Same thing. You had a problem, you found a solution.
Exactly. And so I know everyone else who organizes, even a dinner. Let's say you're coming to Marbella, you're like, put up in your story, hey guys, going to be in Marbella, hosting a dinner here. It's already booked. RSVP yourself. They can either just pay via the RSVP once they join, or as access, let's say even someone with 15, 20,000 followers, or even like an Iman, for example.
Yeah.
Let's say he was going to host a meetup and he wanted to host a private dinner with 15 entrepreneurs last minute in Miami. Puts up in a story, going to Miami, it's going to be 5,000 seats if you want to sit at the table, puts up the location, time, RSVP yourself, attach your profile will have their Instagram, their interest, their revenue numbers, etc. And he can be like, I'd like him at my dinner, 5,000 accepted. He's made 30,000 gone for dinner with 6 people and covered his cost for the trip. So it's like, it can be beneficial for so many different types of people, and it can streamline the organization of events at the same time. And so that came from just thinking, I have this fucking problem that he's the head of me. How can I fix it?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that goes well. I'm sure it will. And so that comes together with the events and the software. So that's the plan.
Okay.
For next year to blow them
Last question. If A players gets to, is there a cap on members? Or if A players gets to 1,000 members, how do you create a situation where it's still the same vibe as when it had 100?
Tiers and specific trips. And so it's like, even with the Tony Robbins
so
platinum
you're
stuff.
matched up with people. So
exactly.
Tony has platinum, then he has Lions, then he has something.
So it's like, you only want to network with people who are slightly ahead of you and have then sometimes conversation with guys who are 10 years ahead of you. Because like the guys who are 10 years ahead or 5 years ahead in business terms don't want to daily communicate with guys who are on the lower terms, even though it's nice to be around the energy.
Well, you might want access to them because they might be a startup that's like a super smart AI guy, right?
Yeah.
But their turnover is not that great because they're a freelancer. So you might want access, but you don't want to network with them necessarily.
So think about tiers in regards to community access, and you can have access to the lower level guys if you want, but you can just have access to your main guys.
Yeah.
Then I'm also thinking about creating a system to where the lower level guys in the community, let's say they're 5, 10K a month, can pay hourly based on like the profiles of the guys who are in the higher tier to learn off them just off a discounted rate, or just like not within a course because they're actively doing the thing that they're doing, which is the difference between courses because they're not doing the thing anymore.
So they can immediately access mentors.
Exactly, yeah. It's like kind of like Valley Minect, Minect, Patrick with David software.
No.
He basically has where like you can pay Patrick with David for like an hour of your time, but like it's ridiculous, huge money. But if you could pay someone who's 6 months ahead of you or 2 years ahead of you in terms of business for an hour of your time, and they're trusted and you can see their profile, that would be good. So I need to find a way to UI that into A players in some way. Amazing. So I can handle the volume, but I just want more software and stuff in place before I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we didn't speak about that you wanted to go? I mean, I definitely want to do another episode because there's loads of stuff I'd like to talk about. But
no, I just encourage anybody who's watching to spend 20% of their day doing the most random things in their business and actually
that are business related, right?
That are business related, yes. That can give them an understanding of how they think and how they make decisions and how they can, because how you think and how you make decisions and then how you assess them decisions and then make better ones in the future is how you run a business. And so if you're copying someone 100% or always looking for the answer from somebody else, you're not building your own business, you're building somebody else's. You're building 10 businesses at once from 10 different perspectives that can't work together. So one mentor, ideally, perspectives from the outside market on mindset and longevity, etc. But then understanding your way of thinking would be my last piece of advice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
No problem. Been a good conversation.
Honestly, I really enjoyed it. Learned so much from it, and it's opened up a load of conversations that I'll have with you as well. And
over cigar later on. Yeah.
Thank you for coming down.
Pleasure,
That's been another episode of Founder Stories, and we will see you in the next one.